Hey everybody, I'm Brian with Knox Company, and I just got done installing these power steps from WolfBox on my Tacoma, and these things look amazing. They are truly a bolt-on and plug-and-play set, and I'm going to show you step by step how to install them. And as I walk you through it, I'm going to give you some little tricks that I found very helpful to make sure that this installation goes smooth and that you can do it yourself. I was able to get these installed within just an afternoon, but if you have someone that can help you, it can obviously make it go a little bit faster. But these things are awesome. They work great. I'm going to show you how to get them on your truck, so let's go. So I had really good communication with WolfBox. They had them to my door in almost 48 hours, so hopefully they're that fast for you guys. But once you get them out of the box, you'll see that we have just a few parts here. We have our two main rails, and then we have our brackets that are gonna hold everything on, and then we have some wiring and our nuts and bolts. It's not too much, but I'm gonna walk you through it all. They also have a very detailed step-by-step guide, but again, I'm gonna show you guys some little tricks that'll make some of these steps even faster. So let's go ahead and get into the first one, and that's gonna be getting these brackets together. You'll see that you have a mounting bracket, and then you have a motor hinge and a regular hinge. So you have two mounting brackets that go against the truck, and then on top of those, you'll have either the motorized hinge or you'll have the other bracket hinge that goes on the back. So this set does have one motor in the front and the regular bracket in the back with two mounting brackets. Now, right in the beginning, this is where I already have a suggestion for you. Rather than putting the brackets and the hinge or the motor together, then installing it on the truck, I found it better to actually install the bracket first, and then there's plenty of space to actually get the bolts in afterwards. Then you install the heavier part like the motor or the hinge. So what I would suggest is locate your holes on the body of the truck and mount the base first, then everything else is smooth water from there on. I first followed it the way it said by mounting it together, and I found it more difficult because the piece was heavier, and so while you're trying to thread the nut on the bolt, it made it a little bit difficult. So that's the first thing that I would suggest. So with doing that, we'll do everything on the driver's side, and everything for mounting is exactly the same on the passenger. So I'll focus just on the driver, and then you're gonna repeat that on the passenger side. So just like the instructions say, it's a very good illustration. Right underneath your driver's side door, you'll look underneath and there's two bolt holes on the outside and one a little bit further in. It's just like it describes. There should be a little plastic plug there that we're just gonna pop those out, and that reveals a hole inside the body. What they give you is actually a T type of bolt. It's a bolt with a bar on it, and that is what we're gonna slip inside the hole. It allows the threads to stick out, and then from there we're gonna now have threaded bolts that come out that will mount the bracket too. So the trick here is actually getting it to sit in there in the correct place, and then also they give you these little plastic washers that you're gonna put on there. What I found helpful is that you actually push it on the threads and pull it off before you install it. That loosens up the hole a little bit because it is very stiff, which it's supposed to do to grab on, but while you're underneath the truck, it can be difficult. So I like to kind of push it on and off the thread first, and then when you feed it on, when the bolt's in place, it makes it a little bit easier to get those plastic washers on. But what those do is it actually holds the threads and the bolt in the right location within the opening. And what I mean is, with the T-bar, you have a little bit of wiggle room to move the threads, and you do not want the shorter edge of the bar to be too far away from the edge of the body because it'll not have as much metal to grab onto. So you're gonna want the threads to sit right up against the edge on the short side of the bar. So that's what those plastic washers kind of help you do, is it kind of holds everything in place. So the two on the outside slip right in, and you can make sure that that edge is right up against the body. That way, when everything's bolted down, it's actually grabbing onto the metal of the body. It's gonna be very strong. The one that's a little bit further back, it's a larger hole. That's the one that I actually had to make a little bit of modifications to. I found that the edge of the rod that was a little bit shorter was still a little bit too long. So as I was trying to feed it through and get the bolt to sit, it actually wouldn't go in all the way. So I took a metal grinder and I rounded out the edge a little bit more and took off a little bit of the meat of the metal. So once I got the larger part of the flat rod inside the hole, it would actually allow me to finish putting the bolt in and then move it into place. I did have to use a hammer to kind of tap it in, but it didn't really deform the hole too much. I talked to WolfBox about this, and they're already working with their engineers to kind of have a better shaped T-rod, but I did make it work, and it's something that just took a couple extra seconds and a little bit of ingenuity. But if for some reason you get that, don't be discouraged. It can be an easy mod. It's just shaved down a little bit of the metal so that it slips in easier. I didn't want to hammer it all the way in and then possibly deform the hole that it needed to hold on to. So that's what I did on my kit, but I believe they're working on that for the future kits that are going out there, that this won't be a problem. So once you have those three bolts in place on the front bracket by the driver's side, we have those plastic washers holding the threads in place. You should be able to seat the bracket right up to the body. It fits perfectly. The engineering on all this fits very, very well. Then we're gonna put the washer and bolt on there, and then we can just tighten it down. I did use an impact driver, but I would recommend using at least that or a crescent wrench, but make sure that we're tightening these things down. Then we can just go ahead and move on to the back bracket, which is gonna be at the passenger side door on the driver's side. So right there, you'll see in the instructions again, inside. There's 2 smaller holes on the outside, but the difference here is that bracket actually has 2 holes that are right next to each other vertically. Then there's plugs that we're gonna remove on the body of the truck, and there's actually threaded holes there that we have bolts to put in. So this one actually has 4 securing points, 2 that we're gonna add, and then 2 bolts that we're gonna put in. This one's very straightforward. Once you figure out the front one, you'll see how easy the second one is, and obviously everything is repeated on the passenger side. But this one, we're gonna slip those T-bolts in, get those holes lined up, and then we can start threading in all the bolts. And depending on how you're doing it, again, if you're doing the bracket before you have the arm on, the bracket's very light and you should be able to hold it up there and thread those bolts on. Once you get it on a couple threads, you can put them all on there, tighten them down equally, and then we can move on to mounting the motor and the arms to these brackets. So now that we have the 2 brackets on, this is really the hardest part. We've already got it done. Now we're just gonna be bolting everything up together, and we're gonna be starting with the front side here by the driver. This one does have the motor on it, so it is a little bit heavier, but all we're doing is matching up the 4 holes and then dropping in those bolts that have the square head underneath the top of the bolt. That actually seats into a hole that's square, so that when you're tightening down the bolt, all you have to do is apply some pressure on top of it and then tighten it from underneath, and that'll keep it from spinning in place. So those bolts specifically are for those holes, and there's 4 on each. And we're gonna do the same thing on the back one. We're just gonna put it up there, line the holes up, drop the bolts in, and then you can tighten down the nuts from underneath. And that's just how straightforward the bulk of this work is getting those 2 brackets on there and on the truck. Once we're done with this, everything is wiring and then putting on those running boards. So now that we have the driver's side done, just repeat those exact same steps over on the passenger side. The locations, the holes, and the method of doing everything is exactly the same. So now we can kind of go on to the wiring. And one of the first things I liked about this kit is that the wiring comes with plenty of length, and everything is wrapped and it's insulated, and it looks like it's manufactured or put together very well. It gives you everything and clear instructions in the manual. One of the first things I do, and it says in the instructions, is take out that fuse. That way when we start wiring everything up and then we eventually down the road start plugging stuff in, there is no power running to anything. Where at the very end, we're gonna put that fuse in, and that makes everything live. So once we remove that fuse, we can then secure the positive and the negative to our battery terminals. The holes on these attachments should fit either directly onto the battery terminal, or a lot of these terminals will have a secondary little attachment area. That's where I decided to go with it. I went to the positive, and then I went over to the body to ground it out. And then we started kind of looking at the organization of the wires. Obviously, we're gonna run these things to the back of the firewall, and then we're gonna split across underneath the bottom of the hood there, like below the windshield, so that we can go down the driver's side and we can also go down the passenger side. You are gonna plug in the module that's gonna be here that kind of controls and does all the talking. That computer or CPU that we have there, it's very nice, it's a little bit bulky, but this is where I've seen some different ways that you can install it. I so far have had no problems, but I decided to mount this on top of my fuse box, and I used the adhesive strips that they gave me. I just cleaned it with some alcohol, mounted it so that the wires that are going down the truck are also facing towards the firewall. That way there was no kinks when I was trying to turn everything around. And I think it looks really clean. I've had no problems with it moving, but you can obviously figure out another way to mount it because there's plenty of room with the wires and the length that they give you. But I would just make sure this is secured somewhere around the battery, but think of the direction of where your plugs and wires are coming off of so that it kind of helps you and doesn't cause any torque on that CPU. So I like the way it lays because everything lays in the direction that the wires should be running, and it's not going to put any unnecessary twist onto that adhesive. So now we have our positive and our negative secured. We have our ECU secured or mounted where we want it, and then we can start looking at the 2 different branches of wires that we're going to have. The one that is longer is going to be going across and then down the passenger side, and then the shorter one will be going down the driver's side. I know that might be obvious, but I just want to make it clear for you guys. So when you take those wires, what we're trying to do is avoid them from being next to anything hot. So I went all the way to the outside of the fender well, and then I kind of tucked it down in the corner, and I used some of the wiring harnesses that are going into the firewall by the driver's side to go around so that it wouldn't move freely out of place while you're driving. So I used those there to kind of use as guidance to keep it out to the side. I ran it down as far as I could. Then I just tucked it inside as it goes down to go underneath the vehicle. You should be able to look down and see that there's some daylight underneath there. We're just going to be tucking along the body and the inside of that engine compartment to keep it away from any exhaust piping or close to the engine block. But you can pretty much feed it straight down. You don't necessarily need a fishing tape, but if you do have one and you find that a little bit better, you can definitely do that. But I was able to kind of feed it by hand, and then as I had the slack and I pushed it down, I could go underneath the vehicle and pull the rest of it through. When we're doing the same thing for the passenger passenger side. You can tuck it and secure it with zip ties to anything afterwards to clean it up. But I did that along the bottom of the hood there, up against the firewall, and I did the same thing. I went all the way out to the passenger side wall of the fender, started going down. I ran it along the fender bend there and down along the inside of the body, keeping it away from any exhaust manifolds or anything else hot. Now that we have the wires down on the driver's side, we'll again focus on that side first. We're gonna be tucking them through, and then as it comes underneath, it recommends that you actually go underneath the body and kind of get on the inside of the frame, because what we're gonna do is actually get inside the cab from underneath, and there's no drilling required. There's another little plastic plug that we can remove, and we can go directly into the body, and it's really easy to do. This again is something that I did myself slightly different. It does recommend a hole that is almost towards the front underneath the driver's seat, like the front of the seat. What I found is that there was a larger one where the holes actually lined up into the cab that was a little bit further back, almost to the center of the driver's seat or maybe towards the back of it. So what I did is I removed the bolts from the driver's seat and actually took it out. Don't be scared, just take the 4 bolts out. You can unplug your sensors underneath and you can just remove the seat out. I did this so that I can actually get underneath the seat and pull the carpet up with no resistance. So once I did that, I could actually feed that wire right to that hole in that plastic plug, and I could get into the cab, and I'm gonna run it back over to the edge of the driver's side where we have those plastic moldings, because the wires that we're tapping into is right on that left driver's side foot area. That is kind of the coolest part of this project, is that it just plugs right into 2 wires, which I'll help you locate, and it talks to the vehicle so it knows when the doors are open and everything. It turns the lights on. It's really cool. And here's another trick that I kind of came up with while going through that plastic garment. We're not going to be removing that plastic plug or garment that I'm saying underneath the driver's seat. We're going to be using that because we still need it to be watertight. But how do you push that little plug and those wires through? It's hard because we don't want to drill a hole out. We need it to still squeeze against the wires to stay watertight. And it also recommends maybe using some automotive silicone to kind of double it and seal it up. But what I did is I cut a tiny little hole, or I'll just push like a Phillips or flathead screwdriver through it. I actually have a mark awl that I actually pointed and pushed through it. And as I pushed it through, I then took some very skinny needle nose pliers and followed that same hole. And as I pushed through the center of the plastic, I was able to open up the end of the needle nose pliers, attach the wire that I wanted to pull through, and I was able to pull it through the plastic or the rubber. So that's what I did to actually feed it through. There was no way that I was going to be able to do it by hand by pushing it, because again, I don't want to remove any rubber. I want it to stay as tight around the wires as possible. So get an end or tips of needle nose pliers through it. You can open it up just enough to get the wires through, and then you can grab and pull it through. That's what I would recommend. And this was very easy. The hardest part was just taking the driver's seat out. Then I had full access to everything that I needed. And then I could put the driver's seat right back in, and you bring those wires over to the edge of the driver door. And we're going to go underneath those plastic moldings to the control panel where we have some wires and everything plugging in to the left driver's side foot. So this is where I say the kit is really cool, because it is plug and play. We're going to pop those panels off and we see those wires there. And they do provide some photos in the instructions, and it helped me get to where I needed to go. But one of the critiques that I had was it says that there's like a teal and a pink wire that we're going to get to and that we're going to plug into. And it says like yellow and white to the pink and the teal. But what I found was that my wires were not distinctively pink or very teal. They actually looked like a light tan and a off gray. Like I didn't even think that it looked close, but I knew I was in the right area and I was being pointed to the right plug, but I also didn't see the wires twisted like it describes them. These CAN wires are normally very small wires and they're in a fine twist. Mine were not. Your vehicle may be a little bit different, but I'm going to show you exactly where to get to, which plug it is, and then what my wires looked like. These 2 wires are the only 2 things that we're tapping into, and they give you the plugs to tap into them, but the identification of them was my problem. And I kind of made my first best guess of what was the closest to teal and the closest to pink, if in my mind they were faded, and it looked more tan and gray, and it ended up being correct. So the teal and pink one that we're looking at is going to be connected to the white, and then the white one that we have is going to be connected to our yellow wire. So I'm going to help you guys identify those and hopefully clear that part up. This was probably the frustrating part, but I just had to kind of pick one, and I knew I was in the right area. I only had a couple wires to guess off of, so I'm going to save you guys some time on that. So now that we got that out of the way, everything is ready to go. We can pretty much just plug all these things into. So plugging the motor in, and then we'll have a plug there that we'll do for our LED lights. There's 2 different LED lights for each side, and there's a little plug that we go into. I'm going to leave it on you guys to organize your wires the way that you see fit, but obviously we don't want anything hanging down. There's plenty of other wires that exist and little angles or maybe holes in the body that we can zip tie to. So once I had everything laying where I was, I looked for the nearest area that I could either tuck a wire around and have the shortest run to the LED or to the motor, and then I'd secure it as best I can to keep everything up out of the way, and that way it's not moving around or taking the chance of getting caught on anything while driving. But we're just gonna be plugging everything in from this point forward. And now for your LED locations, I would use some alcohol again to clean the surface before we stick these adhesives down. There's a little flat run across the body that I found to be the perfect location for these LEDs, and I just decided to kind of go center off the door, or I used a mark on the body to reference so that each side matched. So if there was a bolt or a little plug nearby, I would just know that I'm so many inches over, and then I'd mirror that on the passenger side. But these things stick very well. The wire's plenty long enough, so you can kind of get fancy with this if you want to, but I found that the width of the LED was perfect for this flat portion right here on the body of the truck. So just clean that off, stick them on, and then again, make sure those wires are organized. And now we're really done with all the hard stuff. We're just gonna mount these steps to the brackets. But before we do this, we can now check and make sure everything works. I'm gonna put that fuse back into the power line there by the battery, and then I open the door and everything works. So now I see that the motor is working. My back bracket most likely is already hanging down. So what I did is I opened the door so that the driver's side motor would activate. Then it was giving me the empty platform to work with. Then I can put the bolts onto my step rails, and then I could set those onto the bracket as they sit. So with that, I just fed 2 bolts on the top row, 2 bolts on the bottom. Then I went to the other side of the rail and did the same thing. I put it in the general location that I was at, eyeballing it, but as I set it on there, I could set it on top and line up a few, and then I just looked underneath and I could kind of push the threads over and it would fall into place. I did that for both, and again, I did it by myself and I was able to do it. The platform holds pretty level, so I didn't find that it was falling off. But if you have someone there helping you, this can obviously be a little bit easier. Once you have those bolts sticking through, again, tighten down your washers and nuts, and then we can move on to the same thing on the passenger side. And now we're basically done. We have our rails on, we have the power supply working, and as you open the door, you'll see everything's activated, driver's side, passenger side, and then when you see here at night, as you open it up, you have that light that shines down on the ground. And I think that these rails look super clean against the body. They almost kind of have like a rock rail look because it tucks up nice and tight, and that's exactly why I went with WolfBox. It's a super high quality kit. It was very straightforward in bolting on, no custom cutting, no weird wiring. I'm just tapping into 2 wires and everything talks to itself. I've seen some other kits where you're trying to tap into the door sensors or the plugs, or you're actually wiring up the A or B frame and trying to tell it that it's open, and here we're just tapping into the vehicle's wires that already talk, and it has everything for you, and there's nothing really invasive into the truck. So I like how simple this is and straightforward it is, and I think it's definitely something that you can do yourself. If you haven't checked them out already, I have links down in the description for these steps specifically, and I'll also put a link for my website down there as well. But I really would recommend that you guys check them out. I think WolfBox has a lot of really cool products, and this is one of the first ones that I've gotten from them, and it probably won't be the last. So I hope you guys found that video helpful. Hopefully this answered any questions you have. If while you're installing these, or you have any questions about anything on how they're holding up, or anything that you might be worried about installing them yourself, go ahead and send me a message or leave a comment, and I'm really good at getting back to all those. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next build.